If you even go to the Ripple website, it specifically talks about how XRP can provide sovereignty to nations.
Exactly.
That's important because if you want to circumvent the dollar, really, and that goes back to the petrodollar, right? And even in 2022, it was Putin who made a statement about there are alternatives to SWIFT. I found that very interesting. It's incredible. And I also want to put this here while I want my brother's insights as well, if you have anything to say, Vindel. But this is from 2017. I know you guys are familiar with this one. There's no more trace of it. It's a bunch of screenshots. I mean, that's was on the Ripple website.
That's right.
In 2017, that was removed.
And you realize like we were covering this back, and we even talked to Miguel Villas about it. He's the one that's, I think that's his words right there.
That's right.
He was head of XRP markets back then, and we even talked to him about it, and he never backed away from it, did he, Brad? And then it wasn't just him. Chris Larson, there's a video where Chris Larson says they see it as like a supranational currency, kind of like the Swiss franc. You remember that video?
Yeah.
And so, but what's crazy is that story I told you about, the guy telling us that this is to replace the petrodollar. Back then, you didn't have this Treasury Secretary saying we're going to get stable coins to buy treasuries and all this. I mean, you're literally watching it now. But back then, the idea of anybody in government even talking about crypto in a favorable way was crazy. And
we were being attacked in our own community for even having these conversations. And now it's it's what's happening, and it's openly being discussed by our own government at this point.
They were called, what you just flashed on the screen, as early as a year or two ago, there were people in the XRP community saying that was an old narrative. No, it's not.
I think it's more relevant today than it was back then. Well, the information is old doesn't mean it's outdated.
Exactly.
But to add on top of that, Brad and Digital Asset Investor, there was a point that was recorded on video where Brad Garlinghouse was at a conference, and he publicly stated at the end of his sentence in Asia at the conference that the goal essentially of the creators of XRP, something along the lines, was to essentially, he said, make it a world reserve currency, something to that nature. I'm paraphrasing. But he explicitly said it. What's interesting, though, how you said that has been removed, that's kind of not in the public talking points these days. In the world of business, that sometimes is called strategic misdirection. In order to divert attention away from that point elsewhere, because it serves as a very critical agenda in the grand scheme of things. So this is very common in the world of business and banking, which is my background, and things of that nature, and corporate finance. So when they're doing that on a global stage, it doesn't necessarily mean that is not the goal anymore. It could simply mean that possibility from a probabilistic standpoint that the goal remains the same. It's just the public narrative shifted for strategic purposes.
Vandale, you just summarized what our channels have been about for the last 7 years.
Exactly.
Misdirection by pure coincidence. I clipped out a Paul Barron clip today. He had a guy on. The guy said, make no mistake, what's going on right now by these Wall Street banks and all these heavy hitters is they're literally, he called them black ops sites. They're like the big companies like BlackRock have black ops sites off site from their headquarters that are developing all of this stuff right now behind the scenes, and they're just not, it's misdirection. They're coming out and acting like, just like 2 years ago, Larry Fink was saying, we don't have anybody asking about Bitcoin. And so that's kind of been the battle, Brad and we've been attacked more than anybody in all of crypto probably.
And we actually have they have a black site here in Dallas.
Do they?
Well, yes, they have a few in the United States.
Okay.
But carry on.
And so we've been attacked because we weren't just saying what's right in front, what the news sites are telling you, what we've been talking about. Maybe it's because we're older, but I'm old enough to know now how the game works, and you don't pay attention to what they say. you pay attention to what they do or what they're not telling you they're doing. And
There you
Right.
go. Exactly. Yeah.